Hey guys, welcome to the third part of this interview with my friend Chris Martin.
Thank you.
Brother in the faith.
This is great.
It is, right? I mean, we've had a bit of fun, and so it's good stuff. So, if I didn't mention it already, Coffee on the Couch is a YouTube channel, of course, where I get the pleasure to interview people of faith and how they live it out in their life. My friend Chris being one of them, who in previous videos has mentioned that he'd like to work in the youth ministry field as, say, a vocation. We talked a little bit about how he was working towards that and what steps he was taking. So, why don't we get right into the questions? Oh, by the way, Chris, how's that coffee?
It's not coffee, by the way.
Wait, what? It's
root beer.
Root beer? I didn't give you a root beer. I thought I gave you a coffee. No. This is Coffee on the Couch, Chris.
No. I'll just stick with the root beer.
But Chris, it's Coffee on the Couch. I mean, all right. I guess you can get away with having the root beer.
Okay.
Only because I like you. Yeah. So, all right. Let's get into these questions, you rebel. So, how do you define courage in a biblical sense?
Courage, huh?
Yep.
Well, I gotta think of David as that one. David and Goliath, because David was a small little boy. Goliath was a big giant. Because David had to have a lot of courage in going up against that Goliath, because he couldn't do it by himself. He had to have God on his side to do it with him, and God had him go pick up 5 stones at the river, and it took one stone up to the giant's forehead and knocked him out.
Yeah, hit him square in the head, huh?
Oh yeah. So that's what I think of courage right there.
Yeah, I would say so, because contextual wise, it's Goliath was a giant, and then you got the little shepherd boy David.
Yep.
And he was, as they put it, the runt of the litter of his family. So for him to go up against Goliath, when all the other people in the, say, what you would call army now, for him to go up against them with no armor, with nothing but a slingshot, or whatever they called it back then. I would agree, that's courage. I mean, because he could easily squash you. Or slice you in half with one swing of the blade, but no. David just, swung that up, and up the stone went, and into his forehead it went. And down he came. So, let's see. Now, this is another theological question. What do you think of the armor of God, and as it's described in the Bible?
Well, the armor of God, I put it on every day, because it's important to put it on every day, because that way, if the devil tries to come at you, you have armor, you have weapons. You can use the Word of God, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of peace, the shield of faith, and all that. And the way I think of the armor of God, it's like putting football gear on.
Right.
Yeah, putting on your shoulder pads, your helmet, your knee pads, your thigh pads.
There you go.
Yeah, and your cleats, so you won't slip and fall in the mud. It gives you a good step in.
Right. Yeah, because they're all very important. And I mean, I don't have to tell you what would happen if you didn't put on your gear and go into battle. So to speak, in a game, because Yeah, I mean, you could look at it as that way. You're going into battle against another team.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So it's much like the armor of God. Now, for those of you that are out there that aren't very versed in theological sense, the armor of God, and Chris could attest to this, isn't a physical like armor that you put on. It's a spiritual armor.
Yep.
But we're almost as far as commanded to put on our armor of God daily. Because, I mean, we wage a war spiritually every day, every moment of the day. Even when we think we're just hanging out, doing nothing, watching a YouTube video, we're under potential, attack for the spiritual forces.
Yep.
And it's something I think is not talked about as much in some churches. Some churches, it's all they talk about. Some churches, they talk a little bit about it. But, it's an important thing.
Yeah, it is.
And in your own life, what do you think is a crucial element in following after Christ?
Following after Christ, crucial element, I would have to say it's the words that we speak, because words are important, because the words we say are going to either tear up or build down people, and they're either going to have a negative effect on people or a positive effect on people, because like if we see someone having a bad day, like we can lift that person up by speaking a encouraging word to that person. Yeah,
it's a valid point. Our words really do have weight to them.
Oh yeah.
I went to a retreat one time where a family, one of the main speakers for the speech, like the presentation, they took photos of a mason jar that is rice.
Okay.
There was a thing of rice, and they put it on the mantle.
Yep.
And every day, they spoke at it. They had two of them. One for good words, one for bad words.
Yep.
And they spoke the good things to the good jar. And they spoke horrible insult after, not swearing, bear in mind, or, vulgar language, but verbally assaulting the rice in the jar designated for bad words. At the end of 2 months, the jar with the rice from the good looked really good. It was well.
Yep.
The jar with the rice that wasn't very good was starting to develop mold. Now there was no extra air in it. There was no elements getting a hold of it. Nothing like that could suggest that it would deteriorate that way.
Right.
All it was words. So, which I think is a very good example of the power of our words.
Oh yeah.
We might not always remember. We might not always live it out, but they do have weight.
Oh yeah.
So, so here's a question. You watch a little bit of Charles Stanley, right?
I do here and there, but my dad watches him a lot, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what do you, in your own opinion, what do you think of him?
Well, I mean, I don't watch him as much. I mean, a lot. But from what my dad watches, my dad likes him a lot. He thinks he's a great guy to watch, and my dad has actually ordered a few things from Charles Stanley.
Nice.
Yeah, a few healing books and stuff, and CD, I think, actually.
There you go.
Yeah. So I say he's a
good presenter.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Already at the last question for this part. So we will be moving into the last part of this interview. I know, don't cry, Chris. It's, but we're moving into the last part of this interview, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've stuck through these, and watched the different parts we've had. It's been good. We've had a little fun.
Oh yeah.
So this last question: what would you say is your favorite book of the Bible and why?
I mean, I've read through the Bible. I mean, I like all of it, but one book of the Bible I would have to say, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And because it has to do with the love chapter, we have to go around loving people, even when it's tough in this world. We have to go around loving people, just continually showing that love in our lifestyle, in our actions, in our words. So yeah, 1 Corinthians and 2 Corinthians are my favorite books of the Bible.
Nice.
Yeah,
those are pretty good books. And it's funny, I was just reading in Timothy, and it occurred to me, books like that, like you would think maybe Timothy wrote the book of Timothy, but it was actually Paul. And
oh yeah.
Paul is an interesting study if you ever look into him. Wrote 2/3 of the New Testament.
Oh yeah.
And what a story he has.
Yeah.
But, So for now, that's all the questions, but come back for the last part, and we will finish up this interview.